Hi, everybody. My name's Karen, and I'm a compulsive eater, and I weigh and measure 3 meals a day off the gray sheet. I commit them to my sponsor. I don't eat between meals no matter what. And abstinence is the most important action I take every day. 10, 15, 16 is my abstinence date. And that's why I'm chairing today to celebrate my 4-year anniversary. So 4 years back. So I know it's a blooming miracle, right? And so I'm very, very grateful to be here. We're actually at some friend's house. So I'm hopefully nothing goes wrong with the computer because this is not my computer and you'll never see me again. So if all of a sudden I disappear, it's been fun. So let me get organized here. So I came to Gray Sheet in 2003. August 16th. You know, I'm really bad at dates, and yet I remember that date because on August 15th, a woman came into my office where I was working, and we had worked together, and she had lost a lot of weight. And I asked her what she was doing, and she said Gray Sheet. And kind of what I wanted to talk about today was defining moments. And that morning, I had sat in my car. It was August in Oregon, so it was warm, probably not as warm as it will be this coming August, but it was pretty warm. And I had on this tent dress, a black tent dress that went to the floor. I had just finished another program that I was paying for, and am lying to the woman about what I was eating and not eating. And I had started to gain back. I think I was about 230, 240 pounds then. I had started to gain back the few pounds that I had lost. And I'm sitting in my car and I said, God, I'm afraid to even ask for help because I'm afraid to even try again because I have tried so many times. And I go into work and she comes into my office later that day. And the only reason I was willing to try Gray Sheet is because it was a 12-step program. And I'm also in another 12-step program. So I knew it worked, but I had not been successful with the food. I'd had one period of time back in the early 90s when I went to OA. And I think my sponsor at that time did Gray Sheet because we weighed our food and we measured it. And we didn't eat grains or sugars. And it seemed very structured. And I lost the weight. I got down to a normal weight. I stayed that weight for quite a while. But during that entire time, I would change it just a little bit here or a little bit there, you know, just alter it for me because I'm different, right? And so my husband committed suicide on July 18th, 1995. And on July 19th, 1995, I hit the Cluck Cluck store. And from then on, I ate. And I ate until 2003. And I gained unbelievable amount of weight. And I just ate with abandon. And not because I missed him so much, because he was actually very difficult to live with, but because I didn't know how to deal with anything. It was that simple. I had 2 little kids and I didn't know how to deal with everything. And food was my solution. It was never my problem. It was my solution. And I ate and I ate and I ate and I tried during that time. I don't think I tried a lot of different programs during that time. I know when I did my timeline, it's somewhere between 27 and 33 programs that I've tried. Because I'm 70, I just turned 70. So somewhere in that, since I started having problems with weight, which was way early on, once I got out of the house, I tried different programs. I was even a fat heroin addict, and that's not easy to do. It is not easy to be a fat heroin addict. You have to really work at it because there's some complications that come with that when you're eating a lot and shooting heroin that are physically very uncomfortable, but I pressed on. So I got in. There's a few people on here I've known since then. And in 2012, I started, it was probably, when I think about it, you know, this is such a cunning disease. When I start thinking about it, I suspect it was probably 2010 when things started getting fishy for me. You know, I was more disconnected. I was discontent. I was judgmental. Um, I wasn't as happy with my food, because I think I still had a belief that I needed to be happy about everything I ate, that it had to have deep meaning almost, you know, that like it was something besides just food. And I ran into a a bunch of women who were doing a food program that focused on the steps and didn't have a food plan. And I left Gray Sheet and I went there, and I learned a lot about the steps. There's no doubt about it. I learned more about the steps than I have in any program I've ever been in. And I gained 140 pounds. And so I was up to 270 or 280 at that time. And there was 10 of us, 10 or 12 in the group. And there were 2 of us that could not eat in moderation. Everybody else in that group, they're still in it. And they're still a normal weight. They're still doing just fine. I still talk to them. They were a great group of women. But 2 of us could not eat in moderation. And that's when I discovered finally that I have a physical allergy to certain foods, grains and sugars. And when I eat them, it sets up a compulsion and a desire for more that nothing's going to stop me, and I'm going to eat. So I ended up getting really sick during that time. I had a hiatal hernia that created a bleed, and I was very, very, very ill. And the defining moment for me was getting into the hospital, and I had surgery. They resuscitated me on the OR table and in recovery room. I was so depleted. God, I was so sick. I looked like an old lady then. Did you just put your finger up, Callie? Oh. And I couldn't get out of bed for several days. When I finally could get up with my little walker, I went looking for food. And the doc had told me that the repair that they had done with this hernia was very sensitive and that I wasn't to eat anything but what they gave me to eat. And here I was finding the nurse's food and eating, crying at the same time, knowing it could screw up the surgery that I just had done, and I couldn't not eat. I had to eat. And I was eating and I didn't want to eat. And boy, that is the story of my life, because it went from being the solution to my problem to being the problem. And so when I wanted to stop eating, I could not. And that was the beginning. That was in May of 15. And I came back to Gray Sheet in October. I came back right towards the end. 10, 15, 16 is my abstinence date. I always get these numbers confused. I'm so bad at numbers. It's my dyslexia. All of a sudden, everything starts going like that. So 10, 15, 16. I came back to Gray Sheet in 10, 15, 15. But it was another year before I got abstinent. And I got some time, and then I'd relapse. Some time, and then I'd relapse. But in 15, 16, on October 15, 16, I got a hold of my sponsor because I was not reading labels. I was driving back from Seattle, and I had I could see myself driving into a fast food place and eating. I knew I was on the verge of binging. And I called some people, I talked to them, got a hold of my sponsor, and I went back to day one. And that was 10, 15, 16. And that began everything for me. So what happened is that I was going in, and it's always around coffee. This is always how it starts with me. It's the weirdest thing. I really enjoy my black coffee now. I just have it black. It doesn't have to be sweet. It doesn't have to be anything. It just has to be black and strong. But I would put white substances in it. I'd go into coffee shops and ask for sugar-free syrup without checking. And there are sugar-free syrups at the coffee shops that are not abstinent for us because they're the thick ones. And you know that when you're having them because you can taste it. And So I went back to day one, and I never stopped weighing and measuring my food. I didn't binge like I have in the past. But what did happen was I got back with my feet. Thanks, Callie. I got my feet back under me again, and thank God. So what if you've been struggling, which certainly people do struggle with Gray Sheet, it's not for everybody. Usually when somebody asks me to have me sponsor them, I really try to talk them out of it, because it's not that easy. It is not an easy program to follow. It takes a lot of dedication. So it's not just doing a food program. That's the food plan is the foundation of our program. It's impossible to do anything without that. But I need the phone calls. I need the meetings. I need to talk to people like me. I need to get over my little self-centered self and connect with other people who are like me. Because if I don't, other people in my other programs do not get my food. They do not get it at all. Nobody really. Even my wife doesn't really get it. She wants to, but she's not one of us. So programs, reading the literature, doing some kind of service, if you're stuck in yourself, the best thing you can do is be of service to somebody, because when you're thinking about them, you're not thinking about you. And so what am I trying to say? That it's a combination of things. And if you've been struggling, one of the meetings, the calls, the writing, the reading the literature, getting into an AWOL when you have enough time, weighing and measuring your food. When you're brand new, that's what you do. You learn how to weigh and measure your food. And the best thing that was ever said to me is that eating is not the recommended treatment for any problem in my life. It is not the recommended treatment when my kids are going nuts. I've got one bipolar kid who's a wild card all the time. I've got 2 other addicts, and I've eaten over them multiple times. And you know what? It didn't change a dang thing, except then I was distracted from just feeling the pain of them using or whatever. I was in agony almost all the time. I am not anymore. This isn't a dress rehearsal. Like I said, I just turned 70 in September. This is not, I'm not wasting my life. Nothing I can do for anybody else but me. I can't change anybody. If they want to live a crap life, live a crap life. I mean, how's that I can't change it. So I've been to retreats, which I really miss. The New York Roundup tomorrow. If you're new, get on that call tomorrow and listen to what people have to say, because when you get a bunch of Gray Sheeters together, the experience, strength, and hope is outstanding. So like I said, we came out of town. I have 2 minutes. Thank you. I have my cooler bag with all of my stuff in it. I know what I'm going to eat today. I'm going to get to see some other Gray Sheeters later today. Yeah, life's good. What can I say? I'm very, very grateful for the solution. I'm grateful for the people that went before us, and the people and what this integrity of our Gray Sheet is for the people that are coming behind us, to make sure that they have the same solution I had. And so that's really it. I love so many of you. I mean, I love all of you. Well, do I? I don't know, because a lot of you I don't know. So I'm not going to just throw around the love word, but some of you I really do know, and I love you. And the rest of you I care about. I care that you're here. So words are important to me. So if I say I love you, believe me, I do. If I don't say it, believe me, I probably don't. I just like you, or I don't know. It's really not that important. So I'm glad to be here. Thank you.